Imagine it is 0 inches the morning. The whole house is quiet, except for the steady ticking of a clock or the faint hum of the refrigerator. You are exhausted. Your body feels heavy, your eyes burn with fatigue, and all you want is a few hours of peaceful sleep. But your mind is wide awake. It keeps replaying an old conversation, worrying about tomorrow, or drifting from one thought to the next without stopping. If this feels familiar, you may have been told that this is simply part of getting older. But that belief is not as true as many people think. One of the biggest myths about aging is that older adults naturally need much less sleep. In reality, your body still needs solid, restorative rest just as much as it did years ago. The problem is not that you no longer need sleep. The problem is that sleep can become harder to reach and harder to maintain. So first I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken and you are not alone. What often changes with age is not your need for sleep, but the way your body signals sleep. You can think of it like a sleep switch that has become a little rusty over time. Your body still knows how to rest, but the signals are not always as smooth or as reliable as they once were. Two of the biggest players in this process are melatonin and cortisol. Melatonin helps tell your body that it is time to wind down. Cortisol helps keep you alert and ready for action. As we get older, melatonin signals may become weaker or less consistent, while alertness signals can stay active later into the night. The result is that your body feels tired, but your brain does not fully get the message. That is why insomnia should not be seen as a personal failure or an unavoidable part of aging. In many cases, it is a pattern that can be improved. And the moment you stop seeing sleep as something your body has lost forever, you begin to lower some of the fear and frustration around it. That matters because anxiety itself can keep the body more awake. The good news is that you do not need to rely only on strong sleep aids or expensive products to begin improving your nights. Often, small science-informed habits can help send your nervous system the message that it is finally safe to rest. And that brings us to the first technique. This may be one of the simplest and most effective tools to calm the body before sleep. It is called the 4-7-8 breathing method. Now, I know what some people may be thinking. I have been breathing my whole life. How could breathing differently possibly help me sleep? The answer is that this is not just ordinary breathing. It is a deliberate rhythm that can help quiet the body's stress response and guide your system into a calmer state. When you are lying awake at night, your nervous system may still be acting as if it needs to stay on guard. Your heart may feel a little too alert. Your thoughts may keep moving. And the harder you try to force yourself to sleep, the more frustrated you become. That is why this technique can be so useful. Instead of trying to argue with a busy mind, you give your body a different rhythm to follow. A longer exhale can help signal safety, softness, and release. Here is how to do it. Place the tip of your tongue gently against the ridge just behind your upper front teeth and keep it there throughout the exercise. Inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold that breath for a count of 7. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8, making a soft whooshing sound as the air leaves your body. That long, slow exhale is especially important. It can help relax the body and make it easier for your system to shift out of that tense, alert state. You do not need to do it perfectly. You do not need to force it. Just let the rhythm be steady and gentle. For many people, even a few rounds can create a noticeable sense of calm. And if you wake up in the middle of the night with your mind racing, this is one of the easiest tools to return to because it asks nothing from you except a few quiet breaths. Now that your breathing has slowed and your body is a little calmer, you may notice something else. Even when your mind is quieter, your body can still feel restless. Maybe the pillow suddenly feels too warm. Maybe the blanket feels heavy. Maybe your legs feel jumpy or your shoulders still feel tight. This happens more often than people realize. Even when we think we are resting, we may still be holding tension in the body without noticing it. Your jaw may be clenched. Your shoulders may be lifted. Your stomach may still be tight. So the next step is not just calming the mind, it is helping the body let go. This technique is called progressive muscle relaxation. I like to think of it as a way to gently melt stress out of the body. The idea is simple. Sometimes the fastest way to feel real relaxation is to first notice where tension is hiding. When you intentionally tighten one area and then let it fully release, your body becomes much more aware of the difference between stress and ease. That contrast can be deeply calming, especially at night. Start with your feet. Curl your toes downward and hold them tight for a few seconds. Notice the tension, then let them go completely. Feel the release. Move up to your legs and gently tighten the muscles for a moment, then let them soften. Make tight fists with your hands, hold them, and then release. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears, hold that tension for a few seconds, and then let them drop. Finally, tighten the muscles in your face. Squeeze your eyes shut, clench your jaw, wrinkle your forehead, and then let everything go loose. As you move from one area to the next, your body may begin to feel heavier, warmer, and more settled against the mattress. That is the goal. You are not forcing sleep. You are simply removing some of the tension that may be standing in its way. For many people, this technique is especially helpful when the body feels tired, but still too restless to fully let go. So now your breathing is slower and your body feels softer and more relaxed. But what if your mind is still active? What if your body is ready for sleep, but your thoughts are still putting on a full performance? This is the moment so many people know well. You are lying still in the dark, but your mind keeps jumping from one thought to another. Did I lock the door? What do I need to do tomorrow? Why did I say that earlier today? The more you try to stop thinking, the more awake you seem to feel. That is why the next technique can be so useful. Instead of fighting your thoughts, you give your mind something harmless and gently distracting to do. This method is called cognitive shuffling. It is a simple way to interrupt the kind of organized, problem-solving thinking that often keeps people awake. When we are stressed, the brain tends to stay focused on planning, analyzing, and replaying. But as we drift towards sleep, our thoughts usually become looser, stranger, and less logical. Cognitive shuffling helps nudge the mind in that direction. Here is how it works. Pick a simple word with different letters. Let's use the word garden. Start with the first letter G and think of random neutral things that begin with G. A goat, a grape, a garden hose, a guitar. When you run out of ideas, move to the next letter. A, an apple, an anchor, an airplane. Then move on again, one letter at a time. The goal is not to think hard or get it perfect. The goal is simply to give your brain a soft stream of random images that do not carry emotional weight. That makes it harder for the mind to stay locked into worry, planning, or rumination. For some people, this kind of mental shuffle feels surprisingly soothing because it replaces stressful thinking with harmless, disconnected images. And many people find they drift off before they even finish the word. Even after you quiet a racing mind, there can still be one last obstacle: mental clutter. Have you ever climbed into bed feeling as if your mind is still full of unfinished business? One thought leads to another, the bill you need to pay, the phone call you forgot to make. That strange sound your car made earlier in the day, it can feel like too many tabs are open at once and your brain keeps jumping between them. That is where the next technique can help. I like to think of it as clearing mental space before bed. Some people call it a brain dump. You can also think of it as giving your mind a safe place to set things down for the night. Because often Your brain is not trying to keep you awake to be difficult. It is trying to remind you of what feels unfinished, because it does not want you to forget. So about 30 minutes before bed, sit down with a simple notebook and a pen. Try not to use your phone for this. The goal is to step away from stimulation, not add more of it. Divide the page into 2 columns. In the first column, write down what is on your mind. Keep it simple and honest. Write the worry, the reminder, the unfinished task, or the thought that keeps circling. In the second column, write the very next step, even if it is small. For example, instead of writing, "I am worried about the roof," write, "Call a roofer on Tuesday." Instead of writing, "I keep forgetting that bill," write, "Pay electric bill after breakfast tomorrow." This matters because your brain responds well to clarity. When something is written down with a next step attached, it no longer has to stay active in the background trying to hold your attention. In a quiet way, you are telling your mind, "This has been noticed. This has a place. I do not need to carry it through the night." And once you close the notebook, let that be the signal that the day is done. The office is closed. The planning can wait until morning. For many people, this simple habit creates a surprising sense of relief because the weight has moved from the mind onto the page. Now, once you have eased some of that mental pressure, there is another technique that many people find helpful, especially when they want a very structured way to fall asleep. This is often called the military method. It has been widely shared over the years as a relaxation routine designed to help the body and mind settle quickly, even under stressful conditions. Whether or not it works quickly for you, it can still be a very useful sequence because it gives the mind something calm and specific to follow. The method begins with your face. Close your eyes and let the muscles in your face soften completely. Relax your forehead, unclench your jaw. Let your tongue rest. Soften the muscles around your eyes. When the face relaxes, the rest of the body often begins to follow. Then let your shoulders drop. Release them as far down as they want to go. Let your arms rest heavily at your sides. Open your hands and let your fingers go loose. Exhale slowly and allow your chest to soften. Then move down through the rest of your body, relaxing your stomach, your thighs, your calves, and finally your feet. The goal is to let your whole body feel loose, heavy, and supported by the bed. Once your body is relaxed, bring in a simple mental image. You might picture yourself lying in a canoe on a calm lake with nothing above you but a clear sky. Or imagine yourself resting in a soft hammock in a dark, quiet room. The image does not have to be perfect. It only needs to feel still, simple, and safe. And if your mind starts to wander, that is fine. Do not fight it. Just gently bring it back. Some people find it helpful to repeat a short phrase in their mind, something soft and steady like "not now" or simply "rest." With practice, this method can become a familiar routine that helps your body and mind wind down in the same order each night. And sometimes that sense of order is exactly what a restless mind has been needing. Now that we have worked through the breathing, the body relaxation, and the mental techniques, there is one final piece that can make all of them work even better. It is not something you think. It is not something you force. It is the sleep environment around you. And one of the most important parts of that environment is temperature. Your body sleeps best when it gets a clear signal that it is time to cool down. That drop in body temperature is one of the natural steps that helps prepare you for sleep. But this is where many people run into trouble, especially as they get older. It is common to feel colder at night, so the natural instinct is to make the bedroom warmer and warmer. The problem is that when the room is too warm, your body may have a harder time settling into deeper, more restful sleep. In general, most people sleep better in a room that feels cool rather than warm. A bedroom somewhere around 65 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit is often considered a comfortable range for sleep. Of course, comfort still matters, and you do not need to turn your room into a refrigerator. The goal is simply to keep the air cooler while still feeling physically comfortable. And here is one small trick that many people find surprisingly helpful. Keep your feet warm while keeping the room cool. A light pair of socks or a little extra warmth around the feet can help the body feel cozy without overheating the whole room. For some people, that balance makes it easier to relax and drift off naturally. So after everything we have covered today, I want to leave you with one simple reminder. Your body is not working against you. It may just need a little more support, a little more consistency, and a little more patience than it used to. Sleep is not always something that happens instantly. Sometimes it is a skill we gently rebuild, one night at a time. So be kind to yourself tonight. You do not need to do every technique perfectly. You do not need to fix everything in one evening. Just try one or two of these tools and let your body practice feeling safe enough to rest again. And now I would love to hear from you. Which of these techniques are you most curious to try first? The breathing method? The mental shuffle? The notebook by the bed? Or maybe just cooler air and warm socks? Share it in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else feel less alone tonight. Sleep well, take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.